Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Jillian Epperly, and yes, another daily broadcast. Happy Monday. I like to hear myself speak because I like to measure the cadence of my speech, what I'm speaking about, the words that I use to keep me accountable for what I say and what I do, and to also help me verbalize and auditorily hear what I'm saying and doing so that way I could write better, I could think more clear. Not that really, yeah, I guess verbalizing and listening to yourself can help you think in a much clearer manner because you're hearing yourself. And then something else might come up that you didn't think of, and it came from listening and speaking and all of that. So I really, urge those of you that are ready to get to whatever next level of communication to learn how to speak extemporaneously or do a planned speech and then write so that way your communication can improve and the way you get points across to make people move in whatever direction is really an important thing. Because why do Jilly Juice? Why are you doing what you're doing? Is if it wasn't for the way you communicate. So anyway, so that's been my lifelong goal, is to communicate better. And I'm telling you, I'm still in the process. I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't even know what there is yet. If a specific measurable result that says that I've made it in the communication, it would mean everybody on earth would be doing Jilly Juice. So I got a long way to go, and I know it. So yeah, so I made up a new word called Bio-Rationalization because it really makes sense. Since we know that biochemistry has a direct influence on our communication as well as our belief systems, I noticed through my evolution, through my growth, my healing on the JJuice, that I would rationalize all types of behaviors. Okay, whether it's anger, whether it's telling somebody off, whether it's retribution, okay, whether it's, whatever. And so, what I've noticed just within the landscape, our political landscape, political parties, biorationalization is like your biochemistry, and you're rationalizing your belief system through your biochemistry, even though, and you know this. So the thing about Jilly juicers is some of the people know that their biochemistry is attached to their belief systems. Not everybody knows this. Not everybody's going to admit to it, okay? And if they do know it, they're not going to admit to it because they're very invested in whatever belief system they have. Or they want to believe, they have a belief system that's still pretty much aligned with J-Juice, but they're still stuck in the duality, in the whole good and evil, Satan versus whatever. So, okay, that's fine. And so I want to make sure that you guys recognize that your biochemistry is attached to your belief system. So that way you know that you can change your outlook. Okay, you can change your outlook. You can change things. Okay, and so that's one of the most important things, is to understand that people can change. Like if you are a pedophile, you could potentially change your proclivities. I'm not saying that I've had anybody say this, but I'm saying that yes, any imbalance out there that's attached to any kind of like criminal activity or sexual deviance has the potential to change, and to where you're not going to have those types of beliefs, as well as your instinctual cravings. Okay, so anyways, so communism. How does communism come to? Communism is where you're totally attached to somebody else being converted to your belief system, and you're totally attached to uh, making somebody, or you're attached to converting someone, as well as the inability to ignore. Okay? And so when you really think about what's going on right now, the New World Order, I don't think it's about communism now that I think about it. Because this thing with social distancing, this thing with, being isolated in your home, this thing with wearing masks, which does separate you. that actually contributes to individualism. Do you know really what communism is? Is when you are reliant on a group of people to tell you how to act, how to be, where you're cannibalizing each other, where you're drawing so much energy from somebody else that you haven't even figured out how to make up your own energy because you're always too busy vampiring somebody else's energy, cannibalizing. And you know, I've had my my issues with my mother, and you guys maybe know this and whatever. And no, I haven't gone into contact with her. But the one thing she did teach me was isolation is about individualism. And I was isolated a lot. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not. Maybe it's the unintended consequence of taking part in a long range plan of what people would call communism, which is what people look at the New World Order. They look at the Democrat Party as a wing of the Communist Party, which is where everybody's all communal and drawing energy from each other and all this stuff. But when you really look at what's going on right now, it's very individualistic. When I'm isolated at home, when I'm at home or I'm wearing a mask, so I really don't see what's going on with other people, I don't pay attention. And yes, it does. The unintended consequence is that you won't notice somebody in trouble because you won't notice facial expressions. You can't see someone mouthing help me or something because of the mask. Yes, there is that. Children wearing masks and children being isolated, it's definitely not a good thing because, yes, kids have been known to be victimized by people out there. And all this isolation and social distancing and wearing masks does stop the community from seeing if there is a child in trouble. And that sucks, and that's unfortunate. And that's the thing is that there's no way any type of belief system or thought process, especially in a world of fluctuating biochemistries, is going to fit 100% universally. Okay, but this wearing the mask, social distancing, this virus, the isolation, it's great for adults that need to learn how to just pay attention to to their own body, mind, and spirit. It actually is very good for adults who are on the Jilly juice. Because guess what? There isn't the distraction of going to the bars, and the bars are going to be closed at 10 and they can't serve alcohol after 10. There is no point in going to all the movie theaters because they're being closed down. Actually, in my area, the Regal theaters are being closed down. You have Netflix, you have the internet, you have YouTube. So what's the need of going to a movie theater? Um, some of these plays and entertainment venues, they're not doing anything right now because of the virus, the mutations of the virus. So if you want to see a silver lining, if you're an adult, if you want to see a silver lining with this whole pandemic, it's the fact that it's going to help instill individualism in yourself as well as your children. And maybe you will pay attention more to your kids. You're not going to send your kids off down the street without supervision or down to the neighbor's house or, leave them with a bunch of other kids when that isn't social distancing. That's causing more, potential. So, potential for a new strain. So maybe there is something to this, that not everything is what it seems. Okay, and so yesterday, I let a guy go off my Facebook, and he was really gung ho. I mean, he probably still is gung ho. Yes, I like gung ho people. I mean, there's a difference between an extreme, like completely non not say nonchalant, but like just not even acknowledging JJuice exists, which some people don't acknowledge JJuice exists, and other people are like so into JJuice, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and they want to pound it in people's heads. They want to convert people, and they get mad at me because I'm not doing more to make everybody who's a hater turn into a lover of JJuice, and that is what communism is when you are imposing, when you're trying to convert people who don't want to be converted, when you're ignoring yourself to take care of other people. That's bio-rationalization, is where you're basically being a self-sacrificial person for the good of the community, and then you become then what happens is you become hypocritical because your thoughts and your beliefs are not actually aligned with your actions because you haven't taken care of yourself. See, and then when you're faced with people who are conflicting with your belief system, you don't have the tools to be able to handle the conflict that's out there. Some people think they're ready to take on Jilly Juice and present it to the world. I'm telling you, it's not as easy as you think. Believe me, I've tried this way to Sunday to figure out how to convert people to my line of thought, right? Finally, I'm like, there's a few people, like every once in a while, I'll go on someone else's Facebook and challenge them because, you know, yeah, it triggered me. Yes, I could easily ignore. I could. Or I could be like, you know what, I'm going to take a chance with this person. Do I really have any investment that they say on my Facebook? The fact that I'm taking a chance is saying that most likely I'm going to offend the crap out of them. And they're probably going to block and delete me and get totally offended. And I'm okay with that. But I guess you have two choices. You totally ignore and they stay on their own their trajectory and then who knows what. Not that it's really my business but I sometimes I want to exercise my ability to debate, my ability to get a point across. Not that I really need to, but because I could do it on my Facebook, I could do it on Facebook Live and just, respond to someone in an anonymous way. But sometimes I do want to just confront somebody and say, hey, what you wrote on your Facebook is contributing to the self-destruct programming in our society by saying that, you have a bucket list. And I don't know who's been on my protocol, so I just assume that nobody that I talk to, that I confront is on my protocol because I don't know who is and who isn't. The ones that I know who they are because they're in my group or they're verbal on my Facebook. But I don't know everybody on my newsfeed who's either been introduced or know about it. So I just want to take a shot in the dark and say, hey. So occasionally I'll go out there and convert or try to convert. But in reality, it's about really, communism is where you want to convert at the expense of yourself. And so now, really, what I try to do now at this point is just inform and take care of myself and create boundaries because it's just, believe me, writing the book, doing the videos, writing several books in the different biochemistries that I've been in, and doing a bunch of videos, and now writing my last book. And I still, thanks, Stephanie. And I haven't got my period yet. Yesterday, I felt, even now do I feel, no, not really. But yesterday, on my right side, I felt one of my ovaries. I felt my ovaries. Like a little bit of pain. Almost feels like you have to take a poop. But I already taken a lot of poop, so I'm like, ugh, okay. So, so I'm right now exhibiting, and manifesting my biochemistry. Okay? And I'm sure, I'm not saying that my core Jilly Juice principles are going to change, but I'm sure the way in which I react to conflict, the way in which I communicate the information is going to change. Okay? So yes, you may have seen my biochemistry, my biorationalization for my behaviors in reacting and responding to people change over the years. And yes, I have been angry. Absolutely. Am I angry today? No. When someone oversteps their boundaries several times, I could easily ignore. But there is still part of me that still wants to keep you in my world. That if I respond, even if the response is in your face, completely bitchy, that either you'll move to do what I'm doing in a totally different venue, okay, where you'll be like, screw her, fuck her, and then they do it anyways, but they don't tell me, which, okay, that's fine. Or they are like, oh my God, okay, and they get it, and they're okay with me acting bitchy, you know, or they come back at me and then whatever, and then it's a back and forth, but then I usually cut that off pretty quick. So So if I ignore everyone that oversteps their boundaries, yeah, I'd have a more peaceful life. I wouldn't be angry. I wouldn't be responsive. I would just be like, whatever. But that's like anyone that just ignores things that goes on out there that they know is illegal. Like if I saw somebody hurting somebody in front of my house, I would call the police. I wouldn't just ignore. Okay? And yeah, I'd be angry because that sucks that someone is hurting somebody. Or that sucks that, you keep overstepping your boundaries. I'm going to let you know you're overstepping your boundaries. And maybe and so if I ignore, then that it could be the same thing, as them either getting it or they keep doing it until they get a response. So I don't want to keep having that possibility that someone will just keep doing it until they get a response. So I'd rather just have their communication at whatever feelings that I'm in that day. And especially if I've said it several times. Okay, guys, just stay out of the inbox. All I want is a testimony. Um, that's fine if you have something to let me know that doesn't require a response or any kind of call to action. If you need to just get something off your chest and that's it, that's fine. But just I don't want to be back and forth. And some of you are great that you do that. And the thing too is when you send videos and videos I don't mind if it's your personal one, but even then I don't really want to hear a bunch of personal stuff. I mean, let me tell you, you guys are all doing your thing. I don't need proof that you're doing it. I know you're doing it because you're doing it, and that's great. If you have a written testimony that is going to help the world that I could do anonymously, that's even better versus videos and definitely not articles. But something where I can utilize, where I can do is copy and paste. I'm not going to use your name at all, and I'll throw it out there. Okay? And so that's how I have found the easiest way to share Jilly Juice and to inform those of you that are on the journey that want to help other people that don't want to be putting their neck out is that that's what I expect. And that way it leaves me to just then create and be not drawn into the drama. Okay? Because I'm telling you, I've been through all of that, don't want it again, and it really doesn't serve me anymore. Yes, the energy is great, and the energy that I got from the drama definitely gets me to different levels of revelations and evolution. But when you're constantly feeding into the drama, for me, it just doesn't serve me well. But maybe some of you need to be in the drama, okay? And so, but that's where you're at, because the drama does provide a type of evolution, because you're going to figure out whether or not you'll be able to handle that or whether or not what you're doing is working. So if you're in constant drama, and at some point you're going to be drained, you don't have enough energy to feed and be cannibalized by other people, and then try to take care of yourself and all of your issues. But you'll find out where you're going to put your energy. And so, but that's the thing, is I've been there, done that, so I don't need to be pulled into that. I know my stuff isn't taken seriously by a lot of people. I know people think I'm crazy and like, oh my God. And so, okay, whatever. That's like no different than people not liking Trump or not liking Biden or not liking any politician out there, because when you have a specific biochemistry that it doesn't matter how you characterize it, and someone else has an issue with you, then you have conflicting biochemistries. There's no way you're going to be able to convert that person. And you don't want to convert people. There should be no reason why anyone should convert anybody. My information is out there enough. There's enough people that hate me and love me that someone's going to look up the information on both sides if they choose to and make their own choice, and then either be repelled by me and then do whatever they do, or they are gravitating towards me and they are attracted to me and they get the book and they send me an email or private message or comment on my business page, and I'll see them and be like, oh, okay, this person, understands. And then, yeah, I'll bring them into my world if I feel that it's necessary. Okay, so there should be no reason why anyone should try to or want to convert strangers who have an issue with it. I'm not going to convert an atheist into a Christian. That's spinning your wheels. That's like, what the hell? I mean, yeah, it's a challenge. I guess if you need a challenge in your life and you need to exercise your ability to debate, do what you got to do. But the thing is, you need the verbiage. You cannot not get my book and think you have what it takes to debate those that are very highly technical in science. If you can, that's the thing about why I say it's so important to get the book. Oh, but I can't get the book. I'm in Mexico. I can't receive books out here. And then you want to go and take Jilly Juice public in your world, or you want to comment, or you want to create uh, a public page where people are going to get on there and tell you exactly, and you're going to mention Jilly Juice. I share people's stuff. Not everybody mentions Jilly Juice, but I just share just their information. They don't always talk about Jilly Juice. But I like, when John Oakes, he doesn't always say Jilly Juice, but he shares specific information like anti-genes, and there was nothing about Jilly Juice, but anti-genes, it's just information. If someone has an issue with information, then they got problems anyways. But you need the verbiage, you need the words to know how to counter someone's belief system, because they're going to use words too. The way to debate is to know the words, is to know the mechanisms, is to know science, like the back of your hand. When someone says hypernatremia, you're like, oh, too much salt. And then you're like, well, what about hyponatremia? Not enough salt. And then there's the balance. Oh, and then if somebody, well, what about high blood pressure? Drink fucking water. Guess what? Water lowers high blood pressure. Why does high blood pressure happen? Because you don't drink enough water, and then your arteries and capillaries and blood vessels are constricting, and then you have the antidiuretic hormone that stops you from dehydrating, so that hormone gets pushed through your blood vessels that are constricted. So guess what? That's called high fucking blood pressure. But if you don't have the verbiage and you haven't read my book about salt and what it does and what the antidiuretic hormone is, you're going to be attacked and not have any weapons in your arsenal as far as knowledge. You have feelings, but you don't have knowledge. And knowledge and words and understanding chemistry and science is going to be your best friend. But if you're not willing to even study the words that I've put out there, if you're not even willing to study my book to know why salt and sugar are not the enemy, then you'll be all about feelings, and it's about feelings versus feelings, and that we know is totally completely asinine, because look at politics. Oh, Democrat, Republican, the feelings versus feelings. And it's a continuous clashing, and no one's getting educated on anything because they're too busy in their feelings. Anger, disgust, whatever. So that's why I am so about words. I have such comfort in looking up words. I like words because words create worlds. And then words also trigger visceral gut reactions because of how people get programmed. Programming is huge. Humans can be programmed, animals can be programmed. You can program your plants to work, to be in a specific way. Everything that is that's part of this universe can be programmed. There is a grand architect to the universe, and then we have the grand architects of our society. Those are the Freemasons. They're the ones that have given you everything that you have at this point, given you a space to create or a space to destroy. And then there is man-made law, and then there's natural law, and they have to work in conjunction together, but natural law will always trump man-made law. And you have to understand the laws of not only life and death, but also of your community, and learn how to work with all of them simultaneously. See, it's not just, oh yeah, JJuice is it's the greatest thing because you felt this and you felt that. You're still going to bring in your biochemical rationalization, your pot, your ganja, all of your different, ayahuasca, all your spiritual whatever, stuff, which, okay, I kind of make fun, but I mean, that's not the point of JJuice, is to be like all spiritual. The point of JJuice is to reverse not only your cancer, disease, and chronic illness, but get to a point where, you're not taking part in any kind of fight. You're living, you're prospering, you are producing, you're enjoying, you're learning. That's the world that you live in. It's not like we're taking spaceships to outer space and saying hey to Pleiades. It's not about, taking a drug and getting lost in your biochemistry, though it's fun. People do it. They do it all the time. Okay? But is that something that you really necessarily have to do? I mean, do you have to do meditation and play with your chakras? I don't meditate. Oh, but you might be a nicer person, Jillian, if you did. Well, get the fuck out of my inbox and stop overstepping my boundaries and stop pulling me into drama, then I won't be angry. But the reason why I am is because I have an investment in you, so I'm willing to just to let you know and draw the boundaries, and if you get mad at that, then that's your own freaking fault. But no, I don't do meditation. I don't play with my chakras. I don't play with crystals and do the things and collect. No, I mean, this is probably the most closest thing I have to a crystal, and this is a bracelet someone bought me a long time ago that I just found in a box somewhere. And they're just basically stones. Okay, they're stones. But that's it. But I don't have any kind of uh, desire to go and play with the different dimensions. I don't really have a need to. I like my reality. I like being challenged that there's so much to learn. I mean, the languages, the different. I want to play the piano. Singing would be awesome. Cooking, being a master chef, being a pastry chef, being a sous chef, being whatever. There's so much out there that why would I want to go play with my hormones, go play with my chakras, and go see another dimension when the dimension here hasn't even been fulfilled. The potential hasn't even been fulfilled. I haven't even scratched the surface on the amount of stuff that I could learn on this earth with the amount of people in this earth. You know how many people have talents out there that I would love to learn? Okay, there's so much to do out here. So I don't have a reason to go do a drug or ayahuasca or play with ganja or whatever. There's so much to do. There's so many different people with something to offer. Even if they don't do JJuice, they have something to offer. You know, I mean, that's the excitement of the world. But when you get lost in your anger and your biochemistry and you think that there's another place better than Earth, like Pleiades or Mars, then you completely lost the whole picture of living in the now. There is no yesterday. There is no tomorrow. There's only right now. Okay? And so, so I'm excited. That's why I say, if you want to learn how to use your brain in a different way, if you're that advanced on JJuice, go learn a formula. Go convert letters into binary codes. Go pick up a talent. Go play the piano. Learn how to play the piano. Go learn how to act. I don't know. I mean, there's so much to do out there. Go look at all these different college courses in the arts and in the entertainment or in different professions and find something that, for me, actually, I think the cooking, being a lawyer would be interesting. That would be fun because I love to argue and debate. But, playing the piano, oh my God, singing is awesome because that's a way to like just get out, your feelings and get out, just making it feel, when you hear it just brings up different hormones. I mean, when you feel like you're actually on key with a song, I mean, that's the best way in the world when you're not singing off key. Okay. I mean, there's so much to feel good about without having to do drugs. There's so much to feel good about without having to play with your chakras and play with crystals and play with all these different things. When you are aligned in body, mind, and spirit, and you are open to being able to do anything, whether it's working or whether it's just living out your life right now with the current partner you have, knowing that they're not doing the JJuice, so you got to do what you got to do in the life that you're living now, but there's always a next life. Okay? It's kind of weird to say, like, well, when I outlive my husband or outlive my wife, what am I going to do my next life? But that's kind of what you have to look at, you guys. All right? I mean, it isn't just 50 or 60 or 80 years and that's it on the Jilly Juice. No, the whole point is to believe and look at living indefinitely and then having your body, mind, and spirit align with that belief system. It's one thing to say, okay, live forever, and then someone will rationalize, well, maybe not your body, but maybe your spirit, and that's how you can live forever. No, the whole thing with Jilly Juice is you live indefinitely, potentially, barring no crazy natural disasters that are out of your control, that you could actually live beyond this earth, living indefinitely, as long as you bring in the right chemistry and you understand indicators and you get the fuck out of the way when there's danger coming your way. Okay? And which means that there's a lot of life for you to live, more than the 80 and 75, 80, 90, 100 years. There's a lot of life to live. There's a lot of things to pursue. There's a lot of things, potential to fulfill. You haven't even scratched the surface of human potential in 50, 60, 70 years. So don't worry about trying to convert other people. Yeah, people are going to be stupid, but guess what? Your government's awesome. They're now instilling individualism, social distancing, wearing a mask, taking care of you and yours. Stop with this communist having to go to bars and having to congregate all the time with people and cannibalizing your friends and family spirit, body, mind, and spirit. Stay home, do the JJuice. Learn how to be self-sufficient in, in the way you can be in a community with infrastructure. Okay? Realize that you can get just as much nutrition from conventional food as well as from an organic garden. It's just relative to where you are. I mean, if you're in an inner city, away from all the crazy political unrest, and there's still farmers bringing in, or there is major factory farms, yes, that are bringing in cabbage and water and salt or whatever, you can utilize that. You don't have to make it so difficult and go find an organic farm in the middle of, if it happens, great. But you're able to adapt to your environment. You're able to find the nutrients, find the life-giving things in your environment and adapt to it. Okay, and that's the point of JJuice, that if you don't have a car and you're right next to Walmart, take the Walmart farm factory foods, whatever, everything. You can survive from Walmart food. You could survive from Dollar General food. You can survive from the 99-cent store food. Okay? All you need is just salt and some kind of cruciferous vegetable that you can ferment, and water. And then whatever is FDA approved, that's commercially, sold in a supermarket, you can live off of. You don't need to get caught up in the GMO versus non-GMO and processed versus fresh, because guess what? You're gonna get the nutrients from the cruciferous vegetables when you ferment it. The salt's the energizing force, now activating your immune system, which is your prostaglandins, which are the healing hormones. There's some part of your prostaglandins that do induce antibodies. That's only if you're trying to evolve or adapt to another environment. And then the salt will release the excess antibodies that you may induce because of that evolution. And then the cell regeneration comes from the food supply, from the cabbage and the kale, from the processed food, from the fresh food, from the organic food, from the meat, from the milk, from the cheese, from the bread. So you will have such a diverse food supply that you'll be able to regenerate even from a 99-cent food store. It doesn't have to be Whole Foods and be freaking trendy, or be out in the middle of nowhere with an organic garden. You need to have a diverse food supply, because you live in a diverse community with people who have diverse data, like viruses, that you're going to have to adapt to. If you're not eating meat, if you're not eating milk, if you're being all vegan and vegetarian, you're going to have a hard time adapting to the new environment, because these viruses are going to get more aggressive, because it's more data on bodies that are eating meat and milk and cheese and processed food. You're going to have different animal DNA data, viral data floating in the air. And if you haven't really acclimated your body and you're all about vegan, vegetarian, not eating meat and not really getting a diverse food from your environment, you're going to have a hard time adapting to the new viruses that are coming through. Because viruses are data from the whole environment, from the animals, from the plants, from the people. Okay? So it does not pay to discriminate in our culture. You cannot afford to discriminate against anyone or anything. You can't. So all I'm saying is that all of you can do JJuice as long as you understand, the properties, like spices. Like if you're taking too much garlic, if you're using garlic as a remedy, if you're using turmeric as a remedy, if you're using all these natural remedies, you're going to undermine your healing process, because you're going to be destroying and neutralizing your microbiome, because you wouldn't jump into a vat of garlic oil. You would not jump into a vat of turmeric oil. You would not jump into a vat of cinnamon. Okay? You wouldn't do that. But you would jump into a vat of salt water. People do it all the time. The Dead Sea, which is a higher salinity than just your regular Pacific Ocean, people do all the time. They jump into vats of salt water all the time. They do Epsom baths, saltwater baths. But would you jump into a vat of peppermint oil? Hell no. So if you wouldn't jump into a vat of freaking turmeric oil or any of these essential oils or spices or red hot chili peppers, why the hell would you eat it in large amounts? Why would you eat jalapenos in large amounts if you wouldn't jump into a vat of it? Because it would destroy you. But when you jump into salt water, like the Dead Sea in Israel or in the Middle East, to the ocean, to Epsom salts. Does the Epsom salt thing says, oh, you can't put too much salt, you might overdose on salt if you put too much salt in your saltwater bath? No, there is nothing like that. But there's definitely dosages and how much drops of oil when you deal with essential oils and all of your little different remedies. So understand the intention behind why you're ingesting something. Understand the chemical properties of it. Because if you don't, then you'll be undermining yourself. Because you're like, oh yeah, garlic is natural. I'm going to drink a bunch of freaking garlic. And it's then causing the degradation of your microbiome. So that's the thing, is that, Jilly Juice is going to help you adapt to even the most dire circumstances where there's hardly anything on the shelf. If you have salt, you have some kind of vegetable, and you have a diverse food supply. Because yeah, if you don't have as much a diverse food supply in the environment, then the people will die. And when you don't have people around, they won't be mixing up DNA and mixing up viruses. So you won't have as much diversity to have to adapt to. So yeah, but that's not going to happen. We have 7 billion people, and we have a supermarket with Dinty Moore to Campbell's soup to I made some fluff the other day for a barbecue, which is basically like a Cool Whip and yogurt and coconut flakes and tropical fruit in a can. Drain the can with some pineapples. You can live off of that and Jilly Juice. But people don't like that because they have imbalances in their fungus, imbalances in their microbiomes. They're like, oh, I can't do Cool Whip. I can't do soybean oil. Yeah, it might induce certain hormones. But then guess what? JJuice recalibrates. But did I eat JJuice this weekend? For some reason, I just don't want to drink JJuice right now. For some reason, I really just have not been wanting to. But I've been dealing with this menopause thing, whatever, weird evolution. Though I have not been experiencing the hot flashes too much, maybe a tiny bit, but not as much, and the itching has stopped. The itching has stopped. I haven't been itching on my belly too much, or my inner thighs, or my ankles, or my inner, or my elbow, whatever area, or my underarms. I've not been itching at all the last couple days. But I definitely am. I do run warm. I do run warmer than usual, but I'm not having to sleep with a wet washcloth on my forehead to give me that cooling sensation while I'm sleeping. No, I'm not doing that. So I've noticed a change, definitely changes, and then the weird feeling in my ovary to the right side. But no period yet. And what are we? It's been since August 15th, and we're now in October 12th. And I don't feel bloated. I don't feel any kind of off. I'm up at 3 because my husband's up at 3, and then I go back to sleep for a few hours. My dog has felt a new condition in the environment, but she's doing fine. And so, yeah, there's going to be an uptick of people having some issues because whatever strain's out there, it is mutating. And my dog is a barometer. And so, yeah, we're going to be heading into some interesting times. And so you guys cannot afford not to do JJuice. No, you're not going to be where I'm at, but don't expect to be where I'm at after 4 years of all of what I've dealt with. But you will deal with first your body issues first. And it's going to be a lot of issues, especially if you are in your 50s, 60s, and 70s. And then at some point you will feel some kind of mental clarity. You might be able to see through all the bullshit if you don't get too distracted into all the politics. And it's hard for me to say exactly what you're going to get of JJuice, but you will know. It's a personal journey. It's nothing that you can really give somebody, like, an idea. You can kind of, but you really can't give them the actual what it's going to be like for them. because they have PTSD and past traumas and all the, the different, predispositions that they know about or don't even know about or are looming in the future. And so they'll be dealing with stuff that they would probably be dealing with down the road, but in a more dire circumstance. And so there's no way you can really give anyone warning on what to expect on JJuice. Expect the unexpected. Not to say that you're going to, and here's the thing, if there are some very aggressive symptoms, then you're going to have to figure out how you're going to conduct your life. No, the body is not going to destroy itself in the process, because that's not the point of JJuice. It's not into self-destruct. Humans not doing JJuice are in self-destruct. Humans on JJuice are in life promotion. But you have to understand that every single symptom, whatever they are, is your body recalibrating. And then you have to figure out, should you be driving? Should you be doing this? Should you be working heavy machinery? You're going to have to figure out what is appropriate as you're going through the healing process, and what is in your background, and what it is that you can handle. Okay, and some of you might not be able to do it because you're too. First of all, you have to. You're in a job that you're the breadwinner. You can't afford to take off and do whatever, and you're not willing to face those demons. And so, yeah, JJuice, when you really do it heavily, for those that have really major issues, you're going to have to change your life to support it. And if you are in positions of power, and you're in positions, literally, when you're working a heavy equipment, to being a CEO of a company where they expect your specific biochemistry to be consistent, when you do JJuice, I can't tell you if it's going to help you or hinder you during that process. You're going to figure that out. So JJuice is definitely something that you're going to have to figure out what's good for you. And those that are on disability, on welfare, that are getting a check every month, you're in the perfect position to be JJuicer. Those of you that are social climbing, corporate ladder climbing, it may not be your time yet until Mother Nature forces you to take some time off. And that will happen at some point. So that's all I got to say. You guys have a good day. All right.